Kawasaki's brand new 2025 Ninja 1100 SX has just been announced and is here to take over the reins from its extremely popular predecessor. But does this one have what it takes to achieve the same success, or is it just going to be a disappointingly small upgrade? G'day, I'm Kwackajack and welcome back to another video. The announcement of the new motorcycle has only just been made, but they've given us a good look and we can see all the changes and info about their new product. There is a lot of pressure for this new bike to do well, as the previous Ninja 1000 was a well-liked and well-reviewed sports tourer. I myself took out a 2023 model not that long ago and absolutely loved it. So in this video, I'm going to be highlighting all of the changes, and you can make up your own mind of if they've done enough. But let's dive in and see exactly what's new and what's changed. There will be two models of the 1100, the standard SX and the upgraded SE. Apart from the new graphics, the new bikes look pretty much exactly the same as the predecessor, with majority of the changes happening beneath the bodywork. And I'm okay with that. I think they are one of the better looking bikes in the sports tourer class, and I'm a fan of that new green paint scheme. The biggest difference has come to the engine. Kawasaki has increased the stroke to bump up the displacement from 1043cc to 1099, hence the change in name. They claim that it's all about improving low to mid-range performance, with new 38mm throttle bodies, revised intake ports, and flywheel helping to accommodate the new displacement and allow you to get the most out of that low to mid-range. They've added in a secondary balancer here too to try and reduce overall vibrations and improve comfort. In terms of what those differences mean for power, well, Kawasaki USA's website is claiming 134 horsepower at 9,000 RPM and around 113 Nm of torque at 7,600. Comparing that to the old model, it does mean that the overall power is actually slightly lower than before, with the 1000 having more horsepower at around 140, but the new one making slightly more torque. They have made it clear where their focus has been targeted, however, with the lower engine speeds being their key area. The gearbox has been updated with longer 5th and 6th gears, with the longer 5th meant to improve power feel, while the longer top gear allowing it to cruise at highway speeds at more comfortable engine RPMs. So what does that mean? Well, it won't have quite as much of a top-end rush to it, instead being quicker off the line with more usable power lower down in the rev range. The older model had more than enough grunt, and considering the overall focus of this is to be a long-distance cruiser which you can attack the twisties with, it should mean for a fun bike. Their changes to the engine should also mean an improvement for fuel efficiency, with the motor not having to work as hard while cruising. Paired with the same 19-litre tank as before, you should be getting some great distance from the tank here. Another change to the bike is the new quick shifter. It's bi-directional up and down like before, but now it's functional from revs as low as 1500, whereas before you could only use it above 2.5. As for turny and stoppy bits, on the standard 1100, the chassis is identical to the older 1000, except for a slightly larger 260mm rear brake disc compared to the 250 before. The suspension is unchanged, with it still having 41mm inverted forks at the front and horizontal backlink rear shock at the back end. And you're going to still be getting the same full adjustability. The current 1000 SX is a fantastic handling bike, and I think they've gone with a if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. The SE model does get some more substantial changes, with the new Brembo M432 front brake calipers along with new master cylinder and front brake rotors. It has an upgraded Öhlins S46 rear shock with remote preload adjuster, and you're getting heated grips and that green trim. The 1100s will be slightly heavier on the road too, with the standard model coming in at 235 kilos and the SE at 234, compared to the old one's 233. So not a big difference, but some of that heft is coming from the fact that they've added more weight to the handlebars and bar ends to help reduce vibrations even further, and now you've got a USB-C outlet there on the left-hand side too. Nice. The electronics package is unchanged, with you still getting ride modes, an IMU-backed cornering traction control and ABS, and electronic cruise control. That's all managed by the same 4.3-inch color TFT display along with their Rideology app, which now, by the way, has voice recognition and control. But that's pretty much it in terms of changes. There has been no prices yet given for the Australian models, however we do have the ones for the US. The standard new SX will be the same price as the current 1000 at $13,699, and the upgraded SE model will be around $1,700 more at a price of $15,399. Looking over the changes, it seems to me like it's suffering from a bit of power shrinkflation. The overall size of the engine has gone up, but the overall power output has gone down. Will you miss those extra 6 horses though? Probably not. As mentioned, the current Ninja 1000 has more than enough power for the road, and if they've tweaked it so we can get more out of the engine lower down and maintain highway speeds at lower RPMs, it sounds like a compromise I'd be willing to accept. Overall here, the theme seems to be refinement over revolution. And the old bike was already fantastic, so hopefully these tweaks continue them on their hot streak. I hope to get my hands on one when they come out and do some thorough testing. We're expecting them to arrive in dealerships early next year. But there you have it. What are your thoughts on the 2025 Ninja 1100 SX? Do you think it's a worthwhile upgrade? Do you think they've done enough? Let's have a chat about it down in the comments below. While you're there, please make sure to leave a like, and till next time guys, see ya.